Welcome to Let's Talk Solar. We've teamed up with GoPower, the leading manufacturer of RV solar power systems, to help bring you the right information as well as correct any misinformation about RV solar power. The great thing about this broadcast is that you will be able to ask any of these experts your own questions during the show. So let's join our host, Michelle Fontaine, as she introduces us to our panel of experts.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm Michelle Fontaine of Rollin on TV. Due to the COVID-19 virus, we're doing this show from our individual home offices instead of our company offices. You know, the timing of the show is perfect, as Laurie and I just purchased an RV and it doesn't have solar where our Lance did. So we have questions just like you do for our panel of experts. Some of you have already sent in your questions and we'll answer them as we go along, and some really great questions too. We also invite you to put your questions in the comment area. Those questions are going to take priority as much as possible during this session. If we don't get to them all, we're going to have our panel, we've already asked our panel to hop on and answer them in the feed, so you'll get your answer. Also, please take a moment right now and share, find the share button, share it with on your personal profile, in your groups, on your pages, however you can get this message out there, because this is going to be a really informative hour. And now, let's meet our panel of experts. First of all, we're going to bring up Mark Spilsbury and Eva Mitic of GoPower.
Hi guys.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll bring them back up in just a moment to tell us just a little bit about GoPower.
Sure thing.
Next, we're going to bring up Jeff Johnston. Hi,
Good
Jeff.
Morning. Good
now,
morning.
Jeff is a 35-year veteran writer for RV Tech, for Trailer Life and Motorhome Magazine. We've got a wealth of knowledge sitting right there. He's also the associate producer of Rollin on TV.
So we'll see what we can answer and get the information out there.
That's right. Thanks. Okay, let's hide you and bring up our special guest for an introduction. Janine Pettit is coming up. Hey, Janine.
Here I am. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me, Michelle.
You're welcome. Janine is the founder of Girl Camper Organization, which is a huge audience of solo female campers.
Right.
And
we
when
go places. We do things.
Yeah. And when we asked Janine to come up here, she polled her group, and she's got some great questions for us too.
Because I'm a student of solar as well, so I'm so happy to be on the learning curve here. I've used it in my camper, but if anything went wrong, I would not know where to begin troubleshooting it. It just works, and I don't know why.
Good. Well, you're going to learn. All right. So let's bring you down. And we're going to bring Mark and Eva back up. There we go. Now, guys, tell us a little bit about GoPower.
All right, this one for me, Eva.
Yes, it is.
GoPower, we've been around since 1996. We started with the largest solar company in Canada, but GoPower, we're a mobile power system solutions company. So we don't do just solar, we do batteries, inverters, converters, chargers, all the little pieces in between to outfit your RV with a complete solar power system.
Very good. Now, we said that we were going to prioritize the questions coming in from the audience.
Okay.
So let's acknowledge who we've got already up here. We've got Eric Dion, and Kevin Pinsent, Michelle Weiland. Hi, everybody. Terry Adler, another Michelle, glad to be here. Bruce Kern, hello, waiting. Bob Zagami's with us from New England RV Dealers Association. Hey, Bob, thanks for joining us. Karen Morris from Canada. Mike Helt. Okay, here's a question, guys. And okay. Besides price, is there any difference between ZAMP and Renogy fixed panels?
Well, I'm not the expert on both of those, but I would guess there are some differences. It's hard to say because they do make a variety of different stuff. But if it's the same wattage panel, and if it's an industrial rigid glass panel, it should be pretty similar. But I can't say for sure because that isn't necessarily our line of work.
Okay. Here's another one. Let's see. Let's continue down. We've got Marvin Bale. Hi, Marvin. He says, should be interesting. Of course, it's going to be interesting. Jeannie Gilmore. All right, guys, are you ready?
Fire away.
How much would a good portable solar system cost? I am looking to be able to recharge battery for light and water pump when needed. I have a single 12-volt battery currently.
Okay. Doesn't sound like you need a very large one. We have a 90-watt portable kit, and they usually retail for in around $400 to $500 in that ballpark. That'd probably be enough. Part of it would be just double checking, going to our website, putting the loads of what you want to run into our calculator, and it'll tell you the size of the solar panel you're going to need to do that.
Good. Okay,
Those
Jeannie.
portable kits are really easy to use as well. They come with a number of different connectors that you can just either plug into the ports on the side of your RV, or you can connect it right to the battery terminals right on your trailer. So they're really, really, really simple to use, and they have a built-in controller too to make sure that the batteries don't get overcharged.
Good. Jeff, is that a question that you get in your tech writing?
Well, yeah, but we don't get a lot of price-related questions like that. There's so much, of course, variable all over the country, dealers, direct, whatever. But yeah, it is a good thing for people to take a look at. And as far as having the built-in charge controller and the plugs and whatnot, they're appearing on so many RVs now. Yeah, we get a lot of questions about that.
Good, good. Well, we have a question right here from Troy Brackett.
Okay.
And this goes right into our first question we were preparing. So I'm going to bring up a picture and let's see, make sure I have, yeah, we're good up there. Okay, let me just get this picture up here. Haha. And here's the question from Troy Brackett.
Okay.
Our coach came prepared for solar with a recommendation to add the GoPower controller, which I purchased. So maybe it's not exactly the same situation.
Okay.
The coach manufacturer had a labeled template for mounting the controller in an outer storage bay. I've read since that it is not recommended to mount the controller exposed to the outside. Is this a problem, or should my controller be moved?
Yeah, so most solar controllers aren't waterproof, so they definitely should be inside where they're not going to get wet. They're electronic, so you just want to make sure they're out of the water. Definitely let us know who's putting the sticker for it on the outside, because they should be told to put that on the inside. But yeah, most of the time, see in new RVs that we have a decal that goes on the wall that looks like our solar controller, and it's got a little dotted line for where to make your cut, to find the wiring behind the wall to make your connection a lot easier. Because the hardest part about installing solar after the fact is running all the wires through the walls. So if that's already done, it makes your life a little easier. And then the picture in the bottom corner of my screen for that Korean solar chart.
But Mark, this is Eva's question. You cannot go into that one. Okay, Eva, here's the question.
Yeah.
We have a Furion Solar Charge 10A plug on the outside of our RV. And we've actually had at least five or six people ask this question. So it's relevant to an audience here.
Okay.
The fuse that it's attached to is a 7.5 amp. Can a 130 watt portable solar system be plugged right into this with no changes?
Absolutely, it can. Yeah, our 130 watt portable solar kits come with 3 different adapters: the ring terminals, the XLR plug, which is what you're referring to here, and the SAE adapter, which is a short, flat, rectangular one that plugs into other solar kits. super simple. You take it out of the box, you unfold it, and then you plug it right into the port. I wouldn't recommend anything over 130 watts for our kits, though. 130 watt kit for us is 5.6 amps, I believe. 200 watts is a little bit double that at about 11.6. So you'd be going over the rating of the fuse.
All right. Now, at that level of 130 watts, what can you expect to be able to run in your RV?
You can run your lights and your water pumps, some fans and stuff like that for a couple of hours every night, based off of how many batteries you have on your trailer.
Mm-hmm. Any other thing to add to that?
Well, regarding the question about putting the charge controller inside the storage compartment outside, RV manufacturers are getting better about the seal around the doors and that sort of thing. And the storage compartments are allegedly not climate control, but they're supposed to be dry. However, just the fact that you open the door and it's exposed to the outside air and you're putting wet things in and out of there, for example, means it's, as Mark suggested, a really great idea to put it inside rather than out in a storage area like that.
Good point. Good point. All right, Eva, I want to put permanent solar panels on my roof, but my camper already has a solar connection plug on the sidewall that was installed at the factory. If I feel I need more solar charging, can I also plug in a portable panel without harming the batteries or built-in solar charging hardware?
Yeah.
And if I do add solar panels to the roof, can they be wired through the same plug?
Okay, so yes, you can add a portable solar kit to a rooftop kit, no problem. Our portable solar kits, like I said, have built-in controllers so you don't overcharge the battery if you add it to a rooftop solar kit. I might have to flip it over to Mark to answer the rest of that question, though.
Okay.
I'm not too
Yeah,
technical.
I can see Mark. I can see him.
Sorry.
He's waiting for it. He's trying to get to bed.
So you can have a portable kit and a rooftop system together working off the same battery bank. It's not an issue. But if they've got a prep on the side of the RV, that's really just separate. That's for your portable kit. If you don't have a rooftop prep, you're going to have to install that yourself. Some RV OEMs do both. So they'll have a rooftop plate as well as a side plate. You just got to kind of figure that out. But they work together, so there's no problem in doing both systems.
Good. Okay. Let's continue on with our questions. They are coming in. We've got Jeff Haddock. Hello from the Mojave Desert of California. I wonder if you're camping, Jeff. Terry Adler, 2018 Thor RV that has solar prep, and all I can find is solar connection on roof. No info on where the wire terminates to or their location. Looking at small system that can keep my batteries topped off.
Okay. That maybe they at the time they didn't put the prep sticker on or the decal on the inside. You may have to get a hold of them to figure out where those wires are being run, just because you don't want to be poking holes in walls and guessing. But they should be running. A lot of the times the wiring ends up being in and around near the fridge area and then going to the battery. But if it's not marked, I would definitely get a hold of them to find out where it is. Otherwise, you have to run new wires through. But it'd save you a bunch of time if you can find out where those are. I know a lot of the Thor units would put a prep on the roof and also add a solar controller, but they wouldn't put solar necessarily on a unit, and they'd leave that up to the customer to do. So it just depends what you have there. But yeah, I'd try to get a hold of Thor for more information.
And I think that was a 2018 vehicle that I saw there in the notes.
Yeah.
And regarding getting a hold of Thor, that vehicle is 2, maybe 3 years old now, and ask them as soon as possible, because most RV manufacturers don't have a lot of year-to-year institutional memory. And you ask them about a product that's a couple of years old, and they'll say, gee, we don't have any paperwork on that anymore. So go to your dealer, preferably, and have one of their guys walk into the vehicle and tell you where it is.
They'll likely know for sure. Yeah.
The sooner the better, really.
Good, Jeff. Good advice. Now we have, let's see, Jason. Hi, Jason. Thanks for joining us. Tom Poza, looking forward to this. Kevin Pinsent. Good morning. We are a team watching this together. Thank you very much. We work for Chemo, pronounced Chemo. You know them, right?
Oh, yeah.
RV, British
Chemo,
Columbia, Canada. welcome. Terry Adler. One question I have is about difference to house or chassis battery or both, as our small residential fridge runs off chassis battery.
Okay.
Anybody want to take that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that means it's a motorhome, and in a motorhome like that, the motorhome's alternator charges both the chassis battery that runs the vehicle, the motor, and then the coach battery that runs all the products in the vehicle, accessories inside of the RV. And it's but there is also a device which prevents, when you're running on the coach battery, sitting in a campground, for example, you do not also run on the chassis battery, so you don't kill your chassis battery and make it impossible to start up in the morning. So when you're charging, the best thing to charge for solar purposes is basically the coach battery, the house battery, so to speak. And you just need to make sure the charging is attached to it before that that device that prevents you from also discharging the chassis batteries. Sorry, long answer, but
pretty good. Yes.
Yeah, definitely have it connected
Nice
to the coach that runs all the accessories like your refrigerator.
Okay. All right. Eric Dion, do you have step down kits for vans?
I don't know what that means exactly.
Step down kit.
Yeah, Eric, you want to explain that? Do you understand, Jeff?
Maybe.
I saw the question over there, but I had no idea what a.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know what a step down.
Yeah,
And him getting in touch with us directly. Normally we can kit together some things depending on the voltage of the kits and stuff like that. So Eric, definitely get in touch with us, gpelectric.com, and we've got a little chat function there. You can talk to one of our guys live.
Excellent. Okay, here's one about, let's see, does GoPower plan to add Bluetooth to the IC3000 along with an app?
We are working on it.
Hey.
Not yet, but it is in the roadmap.
Good.
Presently, we have our main solar controller that's included with all of our larger kits has Bluetooth built into the solar controller as it is now.
Mm-hmm. All right, here's one. Sorry. Here's one from Michael Haney, which is similar to one we have in our list that we have in front of us. What maintenance do the solar panels on the roof need? We have 2 GoPower 170-watt panels.
Sure. Well, they're. I don't want to say this. You might not want to know this, but they're likely going to outlast the RV that you have, so they're going to last a long time. But really, all you got to do is just keep them clean. If you're a fall winter camper, a lot of times people if you park or near where I park, you're going to get leaves and debris on there. You just got to keep the panels clean. You can take a pressure washer to them, so that they're pretty strong. Once or twice a year, go up there and just give them a clean off. If you've got, a big pollen bloom, we get a lot of Scotch broom here that turns things yellow. Every once in a while, we go and clean that off. That's really all you got to do.
I actually did that myself not that long ago on the Lance. I got up on the ladder to see how clean they were, figuring the rain cleaned them off. Well,
yeah.
Some Windex and paper towels went a long way to keep it, it was easy to clean, easy. Just like
And
glass.
chances are you probably won't need to make a special trip just to clean the solar panels, because most RV manufacturers, in order to maintain anything like a warranty about their roof, require you to go up and at least once every 6 months, some of them recommend every 3 months, to go ahead and go up and clean it and inspect all the sealant around all the roof, the vents and the pipes and whatnot up there. And of course, while you're up there, dust off those solar panels too.
Good.
All
right.
People will be surprised how well they work when they are dusty too. I've gone up and written my name on the panel and stuff, and they're still putting out almost full power. So
really, Mark, you really do that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Dawn Jeffries. We have a 2020 Jayco Eagle already prepped for solar. I have purchased GoPower Flex 500 kit, but I noticed that Jayco breaks the positive wire from the roof behind the decal on the wall. The controller is supposed to be mounted within 10 feet of the battery. Should I put the controller in the battery compartment and splice the positive cable from the roof?
Yeah, so they've prepped it for basically for like the basic or overlander 1 or 2 panel type system. Being that you went for the larger system, which is great, normally we recommend putting the MPPT controller close to the battery to keep the wire size down. This is sort of a longer one, but there's 5 panels in that system that all get wired in series. So the voltage goes up to about 100 volts. And then at the controller, it converts it back down to 12 volts, but you need a bigger gauge wire to convert that to the battery. Where they have that decal on the wall on the inside, you could use that as the location of the remote for the controller, but you might have to reroute the wiring a bit to make that work more effectively.
Okay. Jeff Haddock, my 2020 Stealth 2916 came with your 220 watt system already installed.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps the batteries charged all day, and we're able to run our radio and Power 4 USB charging stations in the trailer all day without running the batteries down. Didn't come with an inverter, which is the only issue I have. Would love to have the ability to run our coffee pot or another appliance or charge a laptop through a traditional plug. Is this possible with an inverter?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have to bring my Keurig when I go. It isn't camping or RV, but yeah. With it's really an inverter. You really need to figure out the largest thing you're going to run. Generally, it's a microwave. So if the RV has a standard microwave, it's usually you need to run a 1500 watt. If it has a convection microwave, usually we recommend a 2000 watt. 3000 watts is just tons of power that you don't ever have to worry about running. It means you can run multiple things at the same time without worrying about tripping a breaker. But yeah, it's definitely doable. The nice thing about kitchen loads, they're larger loads, but they're sporadic. They're not on for hours of the day. You know, your coffee's only a couple minutes and then you turn it off. You know, same with a toaster, that kind of stuff. And all your entertainment loads usually are low power draw, like the TV and things like that can be on for longer periods of time. So it's definitely doable.
I would recommend, though, if you were going to be looking at installing an inverter, make sure you read all the instructions that come with the inverter first. And if you need any help, definitely refer to a licensed electrician or some sort of professional.
An RV dealer. Well, yeah, if you want it done and then tying it in with your electrical panel and making it all automatic, if you're not electrically inclined, definitely speak with a dealer or someone who's capable of installing that.
Excellent. Okay, I want to do something a little different now, and we're going to bring up this picture first of all. I'm sure there are people here who recognize what that is. And Jeff, I understand you get a lot of questions about this particular item. Would you like to tell us what you hear in your tech columns and answer it for us?
Yeah, because I see all the letters that come into Trailer Life magazine for the RV Clinic column, and we get a lot of questions these days about CPAP machines, most of which run on a very small inverter. Quite often it's the little portable type inverter that just can plug into your car's 12 volt power outlet, for example. So they're not a huge draw, but there's a lot of people using them. In some cases, both people in a couple using them, and they run all night. So they ask about, I draw the batteries down all night with the CPAP machines. What does it take to charge them during the day, like when we're dry camping? And I suppose that's another one of those it depends answers, but we tend to tell people start with like a minimum of about a 200 watt system approximately. I have 3 different friends that have CPAP machines that they use RVing, and they all like dry camping, especially out here in Eastern Oregon, where your nearest plug-in is 50 miles away. And I've recommended 200 watts for those guys, and they all do great. 2 of them have a single battery system. One has a dual battery system in a trailer, and 200 watts seems to pick it up just fine during the day because they don't have a lot of power draw during the day. They're out dune buggying or something like that. So start with around 200 would be my guess. Mark, Eva, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, a lot of people use our 190 watt kit. It's like a 1 panel or overlander system. that's right around where you want to be. Granted, we have to say there's lots of different varying sizes of CPAP machines. So really just check. You can do the math, like, and see. Most of them are around 30 to 50 watts. I think some go to 80 to 250 watts. So it just depends on the model you have. But the average they're usually pretty small draws. So you can get through, and it's not just going to be the CPAP machine. You're using other things, obviously, while you're camping and RVing out there. So you just got to make sure you have enough power to offset it. And that's pretty typical size.
Okay. Next question comes from our executive producer. He wants to know, Joe wants to know, are all your solar panels made in North America, or do they come from overseas?
Say it one more time, I'm sorry.
Are all your solar panels made in North America, or do they come from overseas?
It's a bit of both. So our larger ones, all our rigid panels are North American made. Our flexible panels are made in Indonesia, but we actually are working on bringing those closer to home. So that's taking a little bit of time. They're a newer technology, but most are made here.
Okay, great.
Michelle,
Yes.
Michelle, I don't know about the sequence when you're answering these questions, but Don Jeffries just asked a really good question about using air conditioning with battery, inverter power, and all that.
Yep.
Okay, well, I know the questions are coming in fast and furious. This is wonderful. Why don't you go ahead and read that, Jeff, because I can't find it.
Okay, the question is right down. It says, will the Don Jeffries asks, will the Flex 500 kit and 600 amp hour batteries with the 3000 inverter, I'm presuming, be able to run one of the ACs for a short period when dry camping? The answer to that would be sort of. Yes, the basic answer is yes, you can run an AC on an inverter and batteries. It's got to be a big enough inverter, and there has to be plenty of batteries, because this will draw the batteries down in a huge hurry. And it's also it is also possible when you're running the AC, most of them have enough manual controls that you can set it on low fan speed, low power, etc. And yes, you could run it for a little while, but boy, if you're planning on cranking that out half the night, if you happen to live in a really hot, humid area, for example, it's going to kill the batteries in a hurry. But make sure that you have a large enough inverter, and I assume that the IC3000, that's 3000 watt inverter. Okay, that one will do it, but I wouldn't run anything else at the same time.
Right.
So the short answer is yes, but with considerations and restrictions.
Yeah, I'm finding a lot of the OEMs are wanting, and people want to, obviously everyone wants to run their AC off system. It'd be great if we could do it and pull it off. I'd own an island in the Caribbean somewhere, and because I've created this magical way to make it happen. But it's just anything that draws a heating and cooling load draws a lot of power. So and usually they're on for long periods of time. So you need a lot of solar, a lot of batteries. But there are guys that are doing it. You can do, if you're running it, like Jeff said, on low power consumption, you can run the AC for, off of, we have a 250 amp hour lithium battery. I have customers running that for 4 to 5 hours off of the inverter, but you still need a lot of solar to be able to recharge that back up, because an air conditioner typically draws at full power 140 DC amps an hour. When you start adding that up, it takes a lot of power to recharge that. So you just got to know that there is a benefit with lithium. You're able to use almost all the power in those batteries, and then when you go to recharge them, they don't go through the different stages of the charge cycle like most batteries do. You can just give them all power all at once. So in our 100 or 3000 watt inverter charger, it has a 125 amp battery charger that you can put all that amps back per hour. So come daytime, or when it's time to charge them, if you had a generator or another source to recharge the batteries over the night, it would do it at least a lot faster.
Well, guys, believe it or not, we are coming up on the half hour.
Already.
Yeah, I know. Didn't that go fast? All right, we still have another half hour to go, but we just wanted to share something at this half hour mark. So I'm going to move some things around here. And And first of all, while I'm doing this, please share. Please take this moment to share with your audiences. And now we want to tell you about a contest. You can win your own GoPower solar panel system. So let me just.
I know you can't wait to get back out and enjoy some RVing. Well, how about on your next trip, you take a brand new GoPower portable solar power system with you? You can. Together with our partners at GoPower, we're giving away a portable GoPower system that includes a 130 watt portable solar panel, inverter, extension cords, and more. The contest starts April 5th, and to enter, just visit our website at rollinontv.com and click on the contest link.
Hi, Janine.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So as we start this second part of our show, Janine, tell us some questions you hear a lot from your solo female camper audience.
Well, Michelle, I'm so glad you're doing this because these are questions I get all the time, and I'm still on the learning curve with solar myself. So it's great to have this professional panel answer these girl camper questions for us. I've written down a few that are most frequently asked. So let's start. I'm going to give them all three to you, and then I'll let Mark and Eva come in. Should a solar system be professionally installed, or is this something that you could buy the portable kit and do it yourself? Will a portable unit generate the same amount of energy that a factory installed unit that comes with your trailer do? Is that going to happen? And how do you determine how many watts you're going to need?
Okay, first part of the question, the portable kits are definitely something anybody can install. That they take a couple minutes and you're hooked up. It's really just setting it up and connecting it to your battery. If it isn't pre-wired, or plugging into the pre-wired spot, and you're good to go. What was the second part of that question? I'm sorry.
Will a portable unit generate the same energy that a factory installed one would?
It depends on the size. So comparing, say it was 130 watts on the roof to 130 watt portable kit. If they're both in the sun, they're both producing roughly the same amount of power. With the rooftop panels, though, they're mounted flat, so they're not always getting the optimal sun angles and stuff. But during the day, are you hanging around the campsite? Are you off on a hike? Well, if you're off on a hike, the rooftop panel might always be roughly in the sun, where the portable one could be facing it in the morning, but maybe the sun's moved through the afternoon, so you're not getting the best sun. So it's a bit of both. It really depends on your your RVing style that you're doing. If you're up our ways and you say you have a small camper, it's usually a heavily treed spot, so the portable kits are nice where you can put that out in the sun to get more sun exposure. And then what was the third part of that one?
How do you determine how many watts you're going to need? So I get a lot of questions. So this is great, Eva. A lot of questions from girl campers who have vintage trailers. So they just want something to be able to run their lights and put a fan on at night. But then there's other people who want to be able to run a microwave or charge their laptop. So is this two different systems, or is this just a question of an inverter or not an inverter?
It's the latter. It's an inverter versus not an inverter. So things like lights and fans and that sort of stuff runs off of DC power. So you can run that all with the battery power that you're currently generating with a single solar panel or a solar setup. As soon as you add in things like laptops or microwaves or kettles and that kind of thing, that's when you start getting into needing that power conversion, which makes the system a little bit more complicated, complex rather. But we do have a number of tools on our website, gpelectric.com. One of them is a solar sizing worksheet that looks like this. It's got DC loads and AC loads, so you can kind of figure out what type of wattage and size of inverter that you need. We also have an interactive calculator there as well, where you can start plugging in the numbers for how many amps your kettle draws, for example, or how many TVs you're watching at night. And it'll kind of spit out a solar system that'll suit your needs.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I would have to ask the question, is it just a matter of watts in an inverter, or how do you determine how many batteries you need? And should you do lithium, deep cell, AGM?
All
Yeah.
of us sends questions.
Yeah, we have lots of caveats with all those questions. Generally, we'd like to recommend 200 amp hours per 190 watts of solar. And then, going up from there. In terms of the different types of batteries, we've got, lead acid, AGM, absorbed glass mat, and we've got the newer lithium types, all of which have different characteristics and different price points that would benefit different users in, various ways. I think that's a bit more of a lengthy answer than we're able to get to in this short amount of time. So maybe we can get to that a little bit later on in the show or afterwards.
Yes. Okay. So I noticed that your website has a chat room. So this might be where people could go to get their specific needs, answered, figure out what they need for their specific type of camping.
Absolutely. And we're working on a couple of big projects as well, using virtual assistants and AI coming up in the next couple of weeks to help people even quicker. So our support structure is definitely going to be beefed up in a couple of weeks.
That's
Great.
great. That's
Hey,
great, Janine. Mhm.
It is true though. A lot of it is a depends factor for all of this stuff because you could be a couple a single girl camping, or it could be like me. I got 5 kids, so I could need a lot more power. It really depends. There's not really one size fits all, unfortunately. But on average, just to throw it out there, our Overlander system, it generates usually from the RVing season being from May to September. You usually get about 6 hours of usable sunlight throughout the day. And if you're just running 12-volt loads, that's usually enough to offset the power that the average couple with a couple kids will use every day. But once you start getting into inverters and running other stuff is where you need to make the system a little bit larger. But just to give you an idea.
5 kids, Mark. You take them all camping?
They get the tents, we get the RV.
That's how I grew up doing it. Parents in the pop-up
Right?
and kids in the
Yeah.
tent.
Exactly.
I have 2 solar panels on my roof, and I don't do anything but run lights and my water pump off of.
Mhm.
But if I decided that I was going to start charging my laptop or watching TV, then I would have to have an inverter installed. And that feels like something I should take in to have professionally done.
Right. Like if you just wanted to run your cell phone or charge that or something small, there are really small inverters that you could run direct off the battery, but it's just like having an extension cord going out that way. But if you wanted it so that all your outlets in the RV work with a touch of a button, and then you don't have to worry about AC backfeeding from when you plug into shore power or fire generator and you have your inverter on all at the same time, the installers at all the RV dealerships know how to do that properly so that it's all fail safe. You just push a button,
And
turns
then you
off.
don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
It also can play into your insurance if you have a fire, for example, and it is traced back to starting with the inverter or the wiring there, and you don't have some sort of a certified installer, the insurance company could possibly deny your claim because it was improperly installed. So having somebody else do it,
Takes that away.
It becomes their responsibility, so to speak.
Okay.
Peace of
Well,
mind.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, peace of mind. Let's
Yeah.
answer a few more of these questions. Again, fast and furious, lots of interest here, and that's great. This is a question about, we talked about the wet environment. And Jeannie Gilmore says, thanks for the help. Listening to a previous question about the location of the controller because of being dry or not getting wet. How will that come into play with a portable unit that is like a briefcase style with everything being exposed to the climate?
The audio
So the
cut out there.
the portable system getting wet outside.
So the controller
Yeah.
on the back of the panel?
Yeah. Ideally, they're not in a torrential downpour, but we've not really had, I don't think, maybe 1 or 2 over the years doing it, if a controller that got wet and got wrecked, but they should be fairly protected with the angle of how they're mounted. So we rarely see any issues with that. Ideally, you don't have it laying down upside down, filling full of water. But most of the time, people they're pretty strong too.
So we're talking about common sense then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like bring it in if it's in you're in a really bad storm. But most of the time, if it's raining, it's going to be fine.
Okay. Gordon Danny. I have a GoPower 2000 inverter converter and 4 6-volt golf cart lead batteries. I'm looking to add 2 more batteries for a total of 6 6-volt batteries. I would like to add solar system where I can to get a solution designed for my setup. Any suggestions?
I would suggest definitely going to our website, gpelectric.com. During business hours, we've got our sales team that man our chat, who are they're able to put together a system for you for that for sure.
Great.
So, yeah, that just maybe you want to add to this too, Jeff, but just to make sure those batteries that you have, if they're, older, you shouldn't really add new batteries to old batteries because it will kind of affect the life of the new batteries. It brings them down to the level of the old battery. So ideally they're fairly new and you just want to add to them, and that's great. Just keep them all the same size battery capacity if you can. You don't want to have different size batteries mixed together. But yeah, definitely that's a large battery bank with a great inverter. So if you have the real estate on the roof to put rooftop panels, our 190s, our Overlander kits are usually the way to go. It just depends on your setup and how much power you need.
And
Okay.
also make sure that the batteries are all the same type. I mean, if you have flooded lead acid existing and you're going to add new batteries, don't let the salesman sell you AGMs because they have, or absorbed glass mat, because they have different charging needs than conventional lead acid batteries. So keep them all the same.
Exactly.
Good. Okay. All right, Mike Helt. For those of us that mount our batteries outside the coach, can you comment on the automatic battery warming wraps so the batteries can charge during freezing temps? Are they effective?
So this is going to be for maybe more for lithium, I would guess. Flooded lead acid and AGM batteries do have a pretty low freezing point. I think it's like, providing lead acid is full and it's in the electrolytes are balanced.
Charged up too. Fully charged battery freezes at a lower temperature than a partially charged battery.
Yeah, so like if you had a lead acid battery and it was pretty much depleted, the contents are basically water. So you got to be careful that if a lead acid battery is almost dead outside, it's going to freeze. Whereas AGMs and lithium don't freeze. Lithiums don't like it. So lithium batteries, they're obviously the new technologies. Their internal battery management systems that manage the lithiums won't allow the battery to be charged below freezing. So that's why people are looking at these battery wraps to keep them warm. Ideally, first thing you do with lithium, just because of the cost of lithium is so expensive, I feel more safe with them bringing them inside, putting them in a compartment that you can keep them warmer and out of the way, because I know batteries sometimes disappear off trailers. But yeah, they can help, but it is sort of a new infancy stage with these lithiums. Some of them, I think the next wave of batteries for people that want to use them in cold climates will have internal battery heaters built into them, which may be more effective than trying to stick heating on them. Because like, unfortunately with the lithium, and if you're trying to keep it warm, that's drawing power out of the battery itself to keep itself warm. So it's kind of tricky. I don't know if you want to add to that, Jeff, too.
Well, I haven't had a lot of comment from magazine readers or elsewhere about the battery wrap warmers, so I can't address how well they work. I presume that if they simply are designed to wrap around a battery and then heat up, it's going to keep it warmer than the ambient temperature. Yeah,
and then just providing it's not too cold, then the battery still stays above freezing. But if it's depending where you are and what time of the year it is, I think you're better off to bring those expensive batteries inside and try to keep them warm versus have them on the end of on the trailer.
Well, for long-term storage, yeah. For just weekend camping, if you're going to be out snowmobiling and your batteries are out there and the temperature is somewhere between 0 and freezing, a battery wrap warmer certainly can't hurt, provided you have the extra battery capacity to run the warmer to the battery up.
Oh, right. No. Who would want to camp like that, Jeff? I mean, really. Really. Okay.
Quite a few, really. Yeah. That's why our ski areas up here have full hookup parking spots for RVs.
Amazing. So Brian Nelson says he likes this show. Chris Herbs, I'm planning a new fifth wheel. If I put 4 265-watt panels at 24 volt into an MPPT 60 amp controller, What would be the best configuration? Series, parallel, or series parallel?
So I think we're talking, at least for the solar, most of our kits are all 12 volts. These are someone that's using like a grid tied 24 volt panel. There's a couple things with this. You just got to be careful when you're mounting these. You want to add extra supports on the roof of the RV, just because grid tie panels generally are meant to be on a building or stationarily mounted, where an RV is bouncing down the road, twisting and bending. Because I've seen these where the glass is larger than what most 12 volt panels have, and they can twist and crack. So just make sure if you're going to do the larger panels to add extra mounting brackets to really keep them tight. The rooftop, it also depends on this controller, how much voltage it can accept in. So if you have 4 of them and say they're roughly 24 volts each, you should be able to run it in series. So adding them all up. So basically there's 4 panels all hooked together, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, all the way along with 2 wires going down to your controller. And there it'll convert that back down to 12 volt and then plug into your batteries. But I'm not confident on what type of controller it is and that kind of info. So you may need to just contact us or check with the manufacturer of the controller to make sure how you should wire that up. Your batteries still need to stay in 12 volt configuration.
Great.
How
Okay.
many volts is he talking about there? Was he talking about a 24 volt panel?
I believe so. Yeah,
Mhm.
265 watts. So
I can't imagine why you'd want to mix and match your power supplies for your DC power in an RV. Yeah. The only reason might be that some CPAP machines actually run on 24 volts DC, and when you plug it into your inverter to power it, it takes that 100 and your house 12 volt DC, converts it to 120 AC for the inverter, and then the CPAP converts it back down to 24 volt DC again to run the CPAP. So theoretically, if you have a 24 volt system available of some kind, you can run your CPAP directly by wiring it directly to that 24 volt system. But that's a whole different subject.
Yeah.
Right. That's a pretty sophisticated level.
Blending those power supplies.
It gets messy.
Okay, well, let's get back down to an older RV. Deb Martin, working on a 1969 Shasta 1400. Want to include solar, and I'm very confused with all the info and equipment. Is there a basic beginner book or manual that will help me sort through the confusion?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. We actually created a RV solar reference guide that breaks down all the components from your solar panels down to, you know, the accessories and solar controller, battery types, all of that stuff. It's also available on our website, gpelectric.com. If you go into our learning center, then on the sidebar there's a download there for you. It's about 20 pages, I believe. And it's got little worksheets on how you can size your system and buying tips for, you know, trying to pick out the right components for you.
So if they just start at gpelectric.com, they can find their way to your learning center.
Absolutely. Yep. It's just
excellent.
The top menu bar.
Good. Dave Copeland, do you have battery options and what's the difference? Ooh, there's another one loaded.
We do. We have we provide AGM batteries, which, or people may know them as absorbed glass mat batteries, which AGM stands for, and lithium. So we have 2 AGMs. We do a 12 volt 100 amp hour battery, and then we do a 224 amp 6 volt battery, and then in the lithium we do a 100 amp AGM 12 volt, and then we do a 250 amp lithium battery.
In lithium, not AGM.
Right. Yes.
Again, all this information is on our website. We've also got a nice comparison as well between AGM and lithiums, the benefits and potential downsides of each battery chemistry in our learning center online.
Excellent. Yep. Sally Rebecca, what number of batteries capacity is good to have for 2 or 3 days, running a minimum of things: water pump, interior lights, DVD player, and TV, and a CPAP? Also, what size solar panel capacity for the above?
What do you think, Jeff?
Boy,
if I agree.
Pardon? I'm not sure, to tell the truth.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You know, I was
So
looking,
that the guide that's online at GP Electric, can you actually put what devices you're going to use, Eva? So you can actually put all those variables in.
Yeah, you can absolutely you can. The CPAP machine is also available on the AC section, so you have the ability to put in all your DC loads, so lights, that sort of thing, and your AC loads, so the microwave, the TV, DVD player, and CPAP machine. We also give you the ability to put in a custom value. So if you've got something like some sort of charger that we haven't added on our list, then you're able to put the amps that draws as well. And then we'll take that into account and use our calculator to give you a good idea of how many batteries you need and the type of solar that you need.
No, that's an amazing.
And
thing.
in a pinch too, well, not really in a pinch, but when it comes to having an RV and you have all kinds of loads and such in there and you want to add solar to it, consulting with your local RV solar specialist company is always a great thing to do. Just as an example, here in Springfield, Oregon, we have AM Solar, and RV Solar is all those guys do. So you take a vehicle in there, and they can kind of do an inventory on your power supply, what you want to do with your batteries. Here's all the accessories, and they're right there. They do this all the time, so they can probably make as good a recommendation as anyone. And solar specialists like that are all around the country. And I presume that you guys both have know about them and can recommend to people, or certainly recommend your local dealer, installing dealers that can do all that for them.
Yeah, we have about I think 700 dealers throughout the all of North America. So people are actually able to find dealers that are closest to them as well. We have a number of them that are very all of them are very knowledgeable on our products and how to size solar systems correctly.
Excellent. Wow, we're really coming up on the hour. Isn't that amazing? Let's go through a few more of these. Michael Bracewell, great information. Thank you. GoPower has excellent customer service and it's much appreciated. Thank you. Lisa Morales, hi, I have a Tab 2016, need to replace my traditional battery. I have a Brunton 14-volt solar board and controller never used. Standard inverter in Tab. What battery to buy? Lithium, how big? Between standard marine and lithium for cost.
Well, first of all, a Tab trailer would not come with an inverter unless you had it in custom, specially installed. Quite often people confuse the inverter, which makes 120 volt AC for accessories, and the converter. The converter is what you power when you plug into shore power, and then that charges your batteries and runs all your lights. So if you actually have an inverter, it was probably an aftermarket installation.
Right.
Okay.
Something to add here really quick too, just so you guys know that, like, if you're not totally sure, and even if you got a battery and solar system, the nice part about it is you can still add to that. You can grow it as your needs grow. So you can keep adding panels if you want, keep growing your battery bank. The tricky one that you can't really add to is the inverter. So you really want to size the inverter right from the get-go, because that's the part you can't add another inverter to without having to rewire it and do all the extra work. And people should also know this one too, that you can actually write off 30% of the cost of the solar and inverter system on your RV for when you go to do your taxes.
Americans
can. Yes, our Americans can only. We can't, but you guys can. But so you keep your bill for all the solar you're doing, the inverters, your lithium, all that stuff. And then there's a form you can find on our website as well that can allow you to write off 30% of the cost. So at least give you a bit of savings back.
Okay.
So for Lisa, I think your best bet, because you've got a couple of specific things that you identify there, it might be best to contact us and see if we can size a lithium battery for you.
All right, let's see. Rick Kessler. Hello, Rick. Are you coming in late like you do for NERVDA? Rick has a reputation. He comes in halfway through.
He's been up a long time.
Oh, good, Jeff. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. All right. Yeah, gpelectric.com. That is the name of the website.
Okay.
Tony Elders, what is the minimum watt solar panel I need to run a water pump and lights on a small camper with one 12-volt battery for 3 days?
It'll depend where you are and when you go, but really you shouldn't need a lot. If they're LED lights, we have an 80-watt starter kit. So we do an 80 watt, 100 watt, and then 190 watt. A lot of people end up just going to the 190 if they have the room. It puts out a little bit, probably more power than you're going to need, but at least if you go out and the weather's really crummy, there's a good chance you're going to be in the RV more, using more power, and then it's going to take care of your needs and then some.
Yeah.
Well, what about the one in our contest, the 130 portable system?
That could work as well. It's right,
Wow.
you just got to have it out there, and yeah, it'd work as well.
And I've never heard anyone say, "Gosh, I really wish I hadn't put that much charging power on my roof."
True.
Uh-huh.
But it also depends on where they live. If they're primarily traveling and camping in the southern part of the U.S., for example, that's a pretty decent solar supply. Whereas if they're up here in Oregon and they're going out to Astoria in January, or up in Maine in any time except the middle of summer, you're going to have a little less charging capability because the sun isn't out as much. So if you're in one of the parts of the country where the sun is not a daily occurrence, you might want to, bump up your supply a little bit. And the 190, well, hey, you can, the more the merrier.
Yeah. One panel gives you, and you can add up to 2 more on there with the way the system works. That controller has a Bluetooth app built in, or a module built into it, so you can get it all on your phone if you want to know what's going on, that kind of information.
So Rick Kessler has a good question. He says, Mark, how's your supply chain looking? Industry's looking like it'll ramp up in May. Are you guys ready?
We are ready. We're actually just making sure we're not too ready, because if the RV OEMs aren't producing as much, we will have lots of inventory. So we'll be fine.
Excellent. Well, okay, 2:59. So now we have to ask a question. There's so many questions coming in. We haven't even gotten to our 4 pages of questions.
Right.
Is there a chance, and we need to kind of ask the bosses down there in the lobby, do we want to do this again next week? Same day, same time? What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
Sure thing.
Jeff, you up
Yes.
for it?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. What about you, Joe? Hey, Joe, what do you think?
No, that works for me. At least we get more answers for these people, and it seems like there's a lot of interest in this solar power. So I mean, I think a lot of people have a lot they want to ask yet, so we might as well do it again next week.
I think so too. Janine, we've loved having you here. Will you come back too?
If there's something I can contribute, I would be happy to.
Well, you got to poll your girls again and get some more questions, right?
Well, you know what? These women are always willing to learn. Just thank you for having me.
You're
And make sure you
welcome.
tune in next week. We're going to have some more surprises on gpelectric.com. Some good stuff coming down the pipe there.
Ooh, insider information. Woo-hoo.
Well, thank you all for participating. It's been fun and pretty good information.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you, Michelle.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
We'll keep answering as many questions as we can.
All right. Wow. That was such a fast-paced hour. Thank you guys so much. Please do. I will put up another reminder on our Facebook page for next week's show, and just continue asking your questions that we haven't covered here. And we're all going to come to understand this solar stuff a lot better. Thank you very much, Michelle Fontaine from Rollin on TV. Have a great afternoon.